This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. Now, here's your host, Kevin Pruitt.
Welcome to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast. As always, this podcast was created to bring you the best and the brightest in the marketing space. Our guest today is the Director of Product Marketing at GetResponse, specializing in strategic product positioning and value-driven messaging. With a decade of experience in SaaS marketing, she's on a mission to empower marketers and business owners with the tools and insights they need to grow, engage, and convert their audience. She's all this, but so much more. Join me in welcoming my new friend to the podcast, Abby Hehemann. Abby, thanks for joining us on the Marketing Umbrella.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. Super happy to be here.
So short bios are just that. They're short and they're bios. There's so much more there to unpack. So what did we leave out that you think our listeners might find interesting?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm, joining you today from Gdansk, Poland, but I'm originally from, a tiny town in the state of Arkansas in the U.S. But I would definitely say this has given me such a unique opportunity and perspective and kind of, international, both international and global marketing, and also just, different corporate experiences, what it's like working, with an international group of folks in an international country that you're not a native of as well. So I think, it gives me a ton of perspective, I would say, both on, how to relate to and market to folks as well that aren't always in our one little bubble that we think about where we live and who we're really marketing to. And I think it's a lot of what I hope we touch on today about some of the benefits and opportunities that digital marketing, makes available for folks. And one of that really is that global reach. And so it's been cool as a marketer and human to live that as well.
Well, it's interesting to kind of look at your LinkedIn profile and see that, you're a little bit of an anomaly because I can see you've had a long history at GetResponse. Many people like, hey, I'm here 2 years, I'm here 18 months, I'm here, 3 years or whatever. So tell me about like the first day. How did you actually end up at GetResponse?
Yeah, it's a great question because really it came when I finished my master's degree in Arkansas. My husband and I really just wanted a different experience outside of our Arkansan bubble, and always imagined leaving the country temporarily just to have a new experience abroad. And who knows what that meant? I was completely naive and inexperienced, but it led us to Gdansk, Poland for a professional opportunity that my husband had, and I started as a recent graduate looking around and seeing, what can I do? What can I do? What skills do I have as a recent graduate? There was a lot of fear, I think, that a lot of folks have when you just graduate from college without a baked in career.
Sure.
Then I found an opening in a customer facing role for GetResponse, nearly 10 years ago. And that's really how the kind of, passion I would say started for digital marketing was kind of learning a tool, but then getting to know customers, getting to know people who get value from that particular solution and how they're using it in their own lives. And I think it put such a personal approach to that. So I started on the ground answering telephones and really advising people on how to use this tool, how to find workarounds. And that's really kind of where I think a lot of great product marketing can start, is actually the two things you really need to know well are a product and your customers. And so that really is where the seed was planted.
It's interesting because so many people maybe have kind of evolved into the roles that they're in, but I can look back at even the roles you've had and see how each one of those has kind of built you to the place you are today. And it's really it's a foundational, growth. It's not just like, well, I that job was open, I kind of had the skills, I could do it. I mean, you really grew into the role itself, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great approach. And that's why I would say, it doesn't always have to be just 2 years here and then you move on. I think if you can see a pathway forward and you've got really forward thinking and supportive leadership and, management to help really guide you and cultivate your experience and growth, there's really no need as long as you're continuing to advance your knowledge and your experience and your skills. And so that was the case for why I stayed so long at GetResponse, was really just because there was always a next step and always new things to learn, which was, wonderful and much appreciated from my side.
So as part of my research, I like to try to, maybe see if our guests have been on other podcasts or there's other clips online or whatever. And I was watching one that you had done fairly recently. But the thing that really struck me was not necessarily the subject matter, but as much about how you actually talked so favorably about the tool and the company.
Right.
So I mean that's really, it's not like it's unique. I mean, a lot of us love the people we work with and work for, but yours seemed a little like there's a little bit of extra allegiance, for lack of a better word, to
Sure.
GetResponse. So talk about that a little bit and talk about the company. Like, just assume we know nothing
Sure.
about GetResponse. Give us the fifth grade, primer version.
Definitely. Definitely. So I can start really that, GetResponse is a really easy to use and affordable solution for folks that have something they want to market online, right? It's if you've got, an audience online that you're looking to reach. And in particular, we recommend getting started with email marketing. We can get
Mm-hmm.
into why we feel like email marketing is such a foundational channel today and tomorrow. But really it's the core benefit that I really can see over and over again. And it's easy to use. You don't have to have a big, barrier to entry in terms of cost, nor your experience with using a marketing tool to be able to just, use this incredibly foundational channel to reach a group of folks that you want to communicate more about your offers. So GetResponse is really well known as being an email marketing provider. And
Right.
that's really where most folks get started. But then you need to keep your subscriber list fresh and keep engaging folks, keep capturing new email addresses that you can connect with, and then explore other channels that you can use to continue engaging with those folks. And so that's really a huge benefit of GetResponse. And then the reason I'm, you know, a pretty loyal, I would say, advocate both for the company as an employer, but also as a solution for our users, is really because I am now so embedded and has such a history to see
Mm-hmm.
the amount of care, concern, problem solving resources that are really being invested here to solve problems for our customers, which is really
Yep.
should be the basis for existence of really any organization or company. You're there to solve someone's problem. But I just, see the level of care and dedication that's going into understanding the problems that folks are having and how our customers can use our technology to start solving those problems. And so really that makes me feel comfortable, makes it easy to sleep at night that I know, there's a tool out there that's looking to make it easier for solopreneurs, people who are maybe, have like a side business, a
Mm-hmm.
stay-at-home mom who is super busy with a bunch of kids, but also has a, super interesting business on the side that she's using to generate additional income for her
Right.
family and wants to market it. And that really helps me, sleep better at night knowing I'm, working for a company and a part of actually building something that will make that easier. And it's also not, super expensive.
Well, I want to dig a little deeper in that space. Just the product market fit, that you were talking about, and really providing content that's valuable, versus I'm just trying to schlep my goods here, so you buy something. But right now, I'd like to shift a little bit and let's get a little more granular and talk about the thing that's on everybody's tongue right now. The AI,
Yeah.
addition to this space.
Yeah.
So unpack that a little bit, how that interfaces with
Sure.
GetResponse and what you see its impact on the marketing world today.
Yeah, yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, I think we are inundated with that from every single channel. Every other LinkedIn post is another guide on how to use, some new generative AI tool. But and GetResponse, we're implementing and introducing natively some, the OpenAI GPT technology into
Mm-hmm.
our email creation process, only because in many talks with our customers and with our users, it takes a lot of time to write emails. Not
Yep.
everyone is a talented copywriter. It takes a lot of time to stare at a blank screen, like, where do I even start? And that's really, really where we are seeing the power of embedding this generative AI into your workflow of creating new emails. Because we're also big proponents of, let your human brain do what it does best. You know your audience best. You really should be the gatekeeper of what that generative AI, chat GPT, whatever it is, spits out, but you're the gatekeeper of what actually ends up being sent and received by your subscribers. But it
Mm-hmm.
helps with that getting started piece, that blank slate. You don't know what to put, and you really can be wasting a lot of time
Right.
unnecessarily, kind of going back and forth on a bunch of early ideas and drafts you really can get started quickly and then fine tune it and tweak it. And that's where we're starting to see the first level baseline benefits for our own customers as they come to us like, I don't have time. I have got a couple businesses running at the same time. I'm trying to market. This is, my side job after my full-time job. I don't have time to write 25 emails for my onboarding series of new
Right.
customers from scratch. So it's really helping our customers who have communicated they have trouble having time to do it all. This really can cut down on a lot of that kind of content generation at the early stage.
So play Nostradamus here for a second. I mean, do you see it growing in its, I guess, ability to be creative? And do you see it replacing copywriters? Do you put content generators? Do you see it being like, if I was going to want to, if I was going to want to start in that space, am I scared to death that that AI is going to take my
Yeah.
job?
It's a good question. And a very, speaking of, LinkedIn being everywhere, there's a very, very popular quote that's probably, no one knows the true source anymore, but, you won't be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by somebody using AI, right?
Wow.
And so I think my recommendation, and we've got a super robust content team here at GetResponse that, of course we are never looking to eliminate, only because they can just be now so much even more productive and so much more efficient and creative with quote unquote, outsourcing some of the manual repetitive tasks. This AI tool can just do better, but they know our business the best. They know our customers the best. They can be spending this time on really strategic projects, new ideas, new initiatives, new big things to test. And so I definitely don't see any world in which we're going to eliminate these, what the human brains really can do and the unknowable things that I think some of these, for example, a language model can't really replicate. But most definitely, it's the expectation for all of us to start exploring new technologies and how can it help us be more efficient and do our jobs
Right.
better.
Right. I mean, it's never been, rest on your laurels in digital marketing. I
Right.
mean, it's always been like you better be cutting edge. You better
Yeah.
keep up with whatever it's coming down the pike. But
Yeah.
this just seems like it's like ramped up to quantum speed, the last
It
even
has.
18 months or 24
Yeah.
months. And you're looking, kind of coming out of COVID, you're thinking, what do these people do? They just sat around and thought up new ways to to do things
Yeah.
because they didn't have any, they were
Yeah.
all locked in their house, but
Um,
it is such an interesting space. And how do you see that kind of impacting digital marketing as a whole, or a digital marketing agency, I guess, maybe a better, like, if you want to get a little more granular. So what
yeah.
does that mean for agencies out there in your estimation?
I think they're going to be a whole lot more productive, right? Juggling a lot of different brands, a lot of different offers. I would think that they're now going to, it's going to take a lot less time to stand up new campaigns, to
Mm,
write new content across all of the channels that they need to actually execute for their client, across email, across their, paid advertising, new landing pages. That time should be drastically reduced in the time it actually takes them to create all of the collateral that they need for a new campaign, which is awesome. That means they can take on more clients probably.
yeah.
I think that's wonderful news for an agency. It's going to take them a lot less time to really stand up a lot of these pieces. I also think for marketers in general in digital marketing, we should all get better at our job. I think a lot of what outside of this just generative content, I really hope there's a lot coming for kind of smarter predictive recommendations, things that can be taking all of the data and things that we know about our performance in different channels, paired with the generative side, and really start making some recommendations about who you should be sending to or not sending to or not targeting. I think that's going to be the next step. Probably, this is all moving so quickly, who knows, like
Right.
tomorrow. Uh, Really, outside of this generation period, it's going to be a lot smarter, I think, in the way that we segment, target, and locate folks or adjust our existing strategy based on what an AI tool can actually make some probably super smart recommendations using a lot of data analysis that just previously wasn't available to us or we didn't know how to do.
So what is the interface between AI and big data? So you talked about the generative side, and you also talked about the predictive side. So it seems like, okay, where do they intersect, and how do you use that intersection, to make you better at what you
Yeah,
do.
yeah, for sure. And I think, a lot of times in particular with, smaller, organizations, solopreneurs, unfortunately, a lot of the aspects of big data aren't always going to be at your disposal just
Right.
because you don't have enough volume. But
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of folks, in other organizations, you do. And really what I have thought and have seen, people smartly summarize kind of the value that you're going to get from big data is really like it's volume, velocity, and variety is what then helps you, improve the personalization of your communications. It improves predictability and it improves your precision. So those kind of three V's, volume, velocity, variety, helps then drive a lot of improvements in personalization because you can actually have more demographic data, more specific data about your email subscribers or generally your online audience to better personalize the content that you're sending particular people, the data points that you have access
Right.
to either embed in your messaging or simply dictate how you target folks as well. And then the other piece I mentioned about where, it seems like AI is going to be headed, this combination of generative AI and then the predictive tool to actually use all of this data, if it's about your customers, all of their previous purchase data, mapping to similar customers with similar demographics, all wrapped up into a piece of a recommendation on what they
Right.
should purchase next or check out next. In the generative AI piece, already spinning up a proposed landing page that you should actually be, sending traffic this particular, segment of your audience to. So that's really where I see a big intersection coming together of recommendations on who should see what and when, and then the generative piece. And here's the landing page and email that you should send. That's going to, I think, change so much of the game in terms of the time it takes to get the insights that you need, which previously you had to do quite a bit of digging to really get the insights and make those decisions. Now it should be put forth to you like, hey, this AI brain's like, you should be doing this, validate that, and you should send them this. The content's already ready. And so that's awesome. And then the, precision is kind of similar to personalization. You can just be even more targeted. If you have more data to be able to, bring together who your audience is, because it really just is a fuller picture of who these human beings are that you're looking to target online and just make smarter decisions based on what it is you're offering to, execute a more probably effective digital marketing campaign. Yeah.
I mean, infinitely more effective. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a big leap from, you talked about moving from the personalization to precision. I mean, I can personalize my audience by saying, okay, here's the demographic, here's where they live, here's what they do.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to really drill down, what have they bought in the last 6 months?
Exactly.
How are they using their disposable income? Not just do they have it,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
it is
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
such an interesting, I guess, space right now. And I feel so inadequate to be even able to discuss it because I'm thinking, the things that we talk about today are obsolete tomorrow, almost
True.
that
True.
whole idea. But the way you describe the model, I think we tend to think almost in linear terms, like, okay, yeah, it can tell us what we need to do, then it can generate the content to kind of fill that need. But it really is more of a flywheel model, isn't it? It's more of a circular process. I almost think back of the old MVP model, that it was just kind of this rinse and repeat,
Right.
but it continually gets larger as it grows, like a snowball rolling down the hill,
Right.
so
Yeah.
unpack that just a little bit.
Sure. I mean, I think, and really it's similar to how this language model continues to get better and smarter as more people use it and input more data into the model. So it's similar to that with your own campaigns, right? It's all based on the performance and what people are engaging in that will just help to continue to fine tune what you're sending and who you're sending it to. So it's a learning every single time you execute, a new
Yeah.
piece of a new campaign,
Right.
right? On who engaged with what, and how will that then dictate what you're going to do next, your next campaign. So I think in that way, it's very similar to that flywheel in that you just keep getting smarter and better. And the good news that, as these AI tools become more accessible, to everyday folks, everyday marketers, it's not now or soon, it won't be your full responsibility to spot those opportunities. The AI will make those recommendations. Hey, here's
Great
based
point.
on this past performance, here's how we should change the next one. It's all already set up for you also, like that's going to be the big change. Whereas now we have to, really reactively go seek out how our last campaign did, sit on it, think about what we're going to change, then modify all of our assets and our targeting. And I think now it's just going to be able to be a lot smoother and faster process to iterate and improve.
I mean, it's the ultimate A/B test. It's
Yeah.
like it's saying, okay, I figured out that B is a lot more effective than A, so I'm going to double down. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of in my mind, kind of the increasing flywheel idea was that if I know my marketing dollars are going to be a lot more effective,
Yeah.
in that specific realm, I'm going to double down. I know that roulette wheel keeps landing on red. I'm going to start, increasing the bet, in that space a
Right.
little bit. So
Yeah.
if you were talking to marketing agency owners about just AI tools out there, what are one or two tools that you think you really do need to get your mind around these tools, and these would be very helpful, very effective in helping you run your agency? What are one or two that just come to mind?
Sure. I mean, previously before Chat GPT, it was something like WordTune, right? I mean, it was just like anybody that's not running their first round of copy through, an AI enhanced, copywriting tool, you most definitely should do so,
Right.
So definitely, I have to just join the sea of voices that just, if you're not yet using Chat GPT to be smarter about generating new content ideas, new campaign ideas, to put really smart prompts and inputs in there about, new campaign ideas, new content topic ideas, before you're pitching a new client, like you're missing out. Definitely. If you're pitching a new client and you have some basic details about them, and you're not first, spinning up your pitch and then fine tuning it, that's definitely a big, big missed opportunity, I would say, for sure. But then
Right.
also then, Microsoft's answer to this, the Bing tool, the Bing AI tool is also super cool because it actually has access to the internet. So Chat GPT, right, does not like have access to search the web. So, exactly, not yet.
Yeah.
But now I just open, I've downloaded, Microsoft Edge browser, which I never imagined I would do, simply to get access to the Bing chat, so that I can now have it look things up for me online, in addition to providing similar, chat responses to my queries as Chat GPT. So that's also super helpful. And it saved a lot of time in my research whenever I need to find citations, or I'm looking up a particular metric in a report that I want to be able to surface for some of our communications. Now that tool has greatly saved me time. And I would imagine for an agency, just depending on all the types of collateral and, pieces of content you're needing to create for your clients, it's also changed the game. So if you have not yet downloaded Microsoft Edge to use the, Bing AI tool, I would highly recommend that as well.
What about in the data side?
That's not my big foray. So, like it depends on, I guess, what you need or, mean. But for my direct day-to-day product marketing needs, it's all on research, content, execution.
And pretty much internal.
Internal.
Yeah, the data. What you're using is pretty much internal data, or is this just industry data? What are you relying on?
Yeah, like industry research data, because
Right.
I'm definitely not plugging in, and definitely no person should plug in any, industry, like any of your own company data into these tools, because you don't know.
No. I meant analyzing your data internally for just historical, like purchasing and just what is your market done? What is their proclivities, I guess, so to speak,
Right. Yeah.
those types of things. Not that you're, no, I'm not talking about exporting
Plugging
your
it
data
in.
to
Yeah.
the big, yeah.
Sure. I mean, yeah, like, we have our own internal teams, our own internal data analysts,
Right.
analysts that turn through all the data that our customers generate, and their adoption data and their usage data, and how our customers' emails are performing with their own subscribers. So yeah, we have our own like internal analysts and solutions that are using a myriad of reporting mechanisms that they need to kind of get a lot of interesting insights. And we have our own kind of smart machine learning tools, I would say,
Mhm.
related to what our customers actually can utilize for some of the, send time optimization and things like that for their
Right.
emails. It's quite a lot going on externally and internally.
It is always the case. And I know that GetResponse is very much focused kind of on the email side of things, but what is in your estimation, what is email 2.0 going to look like? I mean, this has been such a standard, such a staple, in our lives since, I mean, I think back probably what, early 90s,
Yeah.
that you may have had your first email address and used that, but it's remained relatively unchanged since then. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see.
Yeah. And it's some things that are really kind of going to be dependent on each email marketer, right? And each general marketer themselves on how they combine or pair email marketing with other channels, other communication channels. There's omni-channel marketing solutions out there where people, look to do really robust marketing campaigns that, combine the intersection of email and when SMS marketing picks it up
Hmm.
and, how that reflects on what you see on the website, right? So you can get super advanced with the role that email plays in your entire, let's say, lead and customer journey. There's so many interplays between the existing channels that we have that really that email 2.0 is for the majority of marketers and folks who really aren't yet leveraging or figuring out the best way to pair and enhance their email marketing
Hmm.
strategy with the other channels that they have, right? None of these channels are powerhouses or the end all be all for a
Right.
marketing channel that you can use. There's not just one, right? It depends. And so really the email marketing 2.0 is really making sure that you are leveraging the power of that and enhancing it with the other channels that are effective for your particular audience and offering. But then for the next steps, right, of like really what's next for the email world, it's hard to say these days. I mean, I don't know. I think for email marketers, it's going to be the speed in which
Hmm.
we can, execute smarter campaigns, like we've already talked about, the content. I
Right.
think email remains essential. We're all going to continue having email addresses. We're all going
Hmm.
to continue being marketed to. And so really it's just about being smart with the tools you have, keeping up with technology as it moves quite quickly, and knowing your audience the best to really stand out in inboxes and actually get the engagement you're looking for. Like, and it's really sometimes these tried and true foundational things that we all kind of know, I think remain consistently valuable even as the years tick on and we get new technology. I feel like it's all really to just enhance what is the core of what
Hmm.
we all should be doing from the start, really knowing our customers, really focusing on giving them relevant, personalized content. And now it's your responsibility as a good marketer to start, acquiring or learning about the technology that will help you do that.
It's and there's an interesting parallel, I think, between email and like web browsers. You know, I mean, you think back of the early days of Alta Vista and AOL, and I mean, it's relatively unchanged, to today. It's just, an infinitely larger amount of information that you have
Right,
access to, but it's
right.
virtually a search engine, and it still looks similar to those
Yeah,
those
yeah,
enter your query in this one line in the middle of the page, and here all the results
right,
pop up. So
right.
it is interesting to think about. And as I think about the tool itself, GetResponse, how how can that tool interface if I'm running a marketing agency? How does that interface with my agency? Could it be white labeled? Is there an affiliate relationship, or is there a partnership? Is this a tool that I can embed in my list of services? What does it look like? What does that intersection look like?
Yeah. Well, just the shortest answer is yes to all above. But then to get into the nitty gritty, indeed, there's white label solutions. We've got, depending on the volume, and in, your kind of deliverability
Hmm.
requirements, or it's having your own dedicated, sending IP address, that's all available. Definitely have a big, super strong, robust affiliate and partner program as well, to really get folks to sign up and join you, and you can kind of get some referrals,
Hmm.
and commissions, or credits toward your account toward that as well. And then a lot of ways in which you can manage the users of your account to set up different user and sub user accesses depending on who's managing different clients or different brands within your agency as well. And so it's super helpful in that with GetResponse we can really capture the subscription process, the landing pages to actually, where you're going to be directing traffic, capturing email addresses that flow directly then into how you actually then start nurturing and engaging folks with the emails that they should receive after they sign up. And then there's, different communication channels to continue your engagement with the contacts that join the list, depending on what each client of the agency is looking to do. If they like to run webinars, if they have online events that you keep within the GetResponse ecosystem, if you want to start embedding more website experiences for website visitors with web push, or you actually do want to send SMS messages to folks who join your list. It just depends on further what channels of communication are going to work best for each of your brands or each of the clients that you have in your agency. But a big benefit is really keeping these things within a singular platform that you can then use to report on the results. It's easy to log in, it's easy to use, it's, drag and drop. There's not, a lot of advanced knowledge that's needed to stand this up. So it also should be a helpful start.
An amazing answer. I ask you a $50,000 question and you give me the comprehensive response. I mean, this lady knows what she's talking about, as far as GetResponse is concerned. And man, what a way to kind of wrap that segment up, but just how it can truly interface with, the listeners of our podcast. But as we transition kind of in our the final stage of our chat here today, it's I'm going to ask you a series of questions. These are our rapid fire questions, and you may think these are kind of crazy. It's disparate questions here, but there's a method to the madness here. But just answer them just quickly, just right off the cuff, no thought. Just here. Okay. Here we go. So, did you get along with your parents growing up?
Yes, I was a very, very well-behaved child. Yes.
Were you the oldest child?
I was the youngest, but very type A, straight A student, always before curfew.
Yeah. There you go. Did you have siblings?
Yes, I have an older brother. Yeah, I have an older brother.
Did you have, or do you have a pet currently?
Yes, I always have and do currently. Yes.
Dog, cat?
A dog. Bird. I love all animals, but definitely in particular dogs.
Children?
No children.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
Between 6 and 6:30.
And first thing out of the chute is go exercise somewhere, or what's the routine look like?
On a good day, yeah. A few days a week, it's heading to the gym, and then other days it is just opening my Slack company chat and a little bit too early to catch up on everything that's been going on.
For sure. And what time do you go to bed?
Between 10:30 and 11.
An ideal vacation spot in the world, no money's no object.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I would definitely say somewhere with mountains, any amazing mountain, the Alps, definitely were cool to see, and I would love to go back.
I want to ask you one thing. I told you I was going to circle back to this. Is we talked about a little earlier, the whole idea of marketing the product versus with integrity, with the whole idea of how do you help the credibility of marketers as a whole? What would you suggest that people do? You kind of understand the question?
Sure. I believe
how do you move it from the used car salesman to we're actually providing a valuable service here? How do you help that overall?
Sure. Yeah. And it's the same base of what I try to do as a product marketer who's marketing a product like GetResponse. And then when, speaking with customers and trying to, advise next steps for their own businesses, it's really considering the problem that you are solving for folks with the offer that you have, whether that's your knowledge, whether that's your piece of technology, that's the service that you're offering. What problem are you solving? And that kind of builds integrity into your marketing and your strategy, right? So you're there to solve a problem. And if people are, mainly motivated themselves by finding solutions to their own problems, and that's really what will actually move the needle in getting the results that you're after, it's really built in. So you might as well start from a place of problem solving for your target audience, because that's really actually what works the best and what motivates people to actually acquire those solutions that they're after. So it really doesn't work the other way to really only promote yourself if it's not built in with the ways in which you're looking to solve problems for others. And so I would say definitely thankfully it's the most effective way. People are motivated by finding, solutions for their problems. So you should build that in. And then that's also just a way to be a good person in this world, is to just, help others with their problems.
Right. I think that is absolutely true. And I think that has come through not just your loyalty to GetResponse, but I think even in your, other chats that I was looking at that you were, interviews you had done, that comes through in your recommendations. It comes through in, the information you were sharing was, you really do need to be a person that is adding value by solving problems versus
Yeah,
I'm just trying to sell you my stuff. I
for
mean,
sure. Exactly.
it
That
is
will only go so
that's a
far.
short-lived
Run out,
strategy, isn't it?
for
For
sure.
sure.
Indeed. Indeed.
Well, Abby, it's been a true pleasure to have you on the podcast today. I really appreciate you taking the time, coming on the show, and sharing your expertise and insights. Tell people what's the best way to connect with GetResponse or to connect with Abby.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Abby Heeman. I would definitely, love to connect and help any way I can. GetResponse also highly recommend checking out. Our team does amazing work with a ton of educational, value-driven content on YouTube. You can find GetResponse on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. We've got a really, really strong emphasis on helpful videos and content that will help marketers, learn about new trends and, the tools that they need to be successful. So definitely recommend checking that out.
Abby, thank you again. I appreciate you coming on the Marketing Umbrella podcast and as a marketing expert, just sharing your insights to help marketing agencies grow and scale their marketing agencies. Abby, have a great week.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. To learn more, go to umbrellaus.com.